Hi everyone, this is Sharifa Tharpe with SC Law Office and I am live to take your immigration questions. So go ahead and drop your immigration questions in the comments. It can be anything that's immigration related. I usually come with a topic to talk about. But keep in mind that I am here to answer your immigration questions. I'm here to prioritize your questions. So you can ask anything. It does not have to be related to what we're talking about. So as I said before, I usually bring a topic, and today I'm going to talk about how to apply for US citizenship. What are the requirements to apply for US citizenship? So but keep in mind, as I am talking, go ahead and drop your questions because I am telling you this information, but I'm doing that while your questions come in. So go ahead and join me and ask your questions. So who qualifies for US citizenship? So in the green card holders can apply for US citizenship. Those are people who have permanent residence. So in order for a green card holder or a permanent resident to qualify for US citizenship, they will need to have their green card for 5 years generally. However, there are some exceptions and there are some shorter time periods. So if you got married to a US citizen and you received your green card through the US citizen, then you could apply in 2 years and 9 months to become a US citizen instead of that 5-year period. Also, if you are in the military and you served for 1 year, then you would qualify under most cases for US citizenship. So there are some exceptions, and there are ways to to qualify in a shorter period of time. Now you meet that requirement, right? You've either had it for 5 years, or if you have a US citizen spouse who you gained the green card through. Hi there, Mariam. It's nice to see you again. You can go ahead and put your questions in the comments and I will gladly answer your questions. So if you meet that requirement where you've had it for 5 years, or if you're married to a US citizen and you received your green card through the US citizen, then you can apply within 2 years and 9 months. Okay, so I see some questions coming in. Keisha 13, I send my documents into the USCIS, but my passport expires next month. So you can go, usually, generally speaking, you can go ahead and send your passport in. But what I do urge you to do is renew your passport, because at some point, when you go into the interview, they usually require you to have a passport that is valid for at least the next 6 months. So go ahead and renew that passport as soon as possible, but usually it is okay to submit, especially if it's current, it's not expired yet. So keep those questions coming. Mariam, what about us that have 10-year green card? How long we should apply for citizenship? So if you have the 10-year green card and you gained your green card through either an employer or through a family member like a parent or a child or a son or daughter, then it's 5 years. If you obtained your green card through your marriage to a US citizen, then you would wait 3 years, but you can actually apply in 2 years and 9 months after getting your green card. So even though you have a 10-year green card, then you have to see how did you obtain the green card and then determine what your time period is. Great questions. So keep those questions coming. Keisha 13, can I file for my son with a conditional green card? So yes, you can, as long as you have permanent residence. If you don't renew the conditional green card, you'll lose your status and then you would not qualify. But at this time, as a conditional green card holder, you still would be able to apply. You just have to make sure that you renew it. I came here as a DV lottery, so I should not apply for. So if you obtained your green card through the DV lottery, then you would wait 4 years and 9 months. Yes. So I got this comment under one of my videos that said, wow, you know, you're telling people to apply in 4 years and 9 months, or if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you got the green card through the U.S. citizen. This person commented that what I was telling my followers and viewers is incorrect. I want to reiterate that you can apply for the green card at least 90 days before that required time period. So that means that you would apply 4 years and 9 months. You're allowed to apply at the 4 years and 9 month mark or the 2 years and 9 month mark. So that is a part of the law, and that is totally fine. So Suyenya, it's nice to see you. You can apply for citizenship when you have 2 years and 9 months married or with green card. So 2 years and 9 months, you would have to gain your permanent residence through a U.S. citizen spouse, and you would have to show that you've been married for. So what happens is you would have to maintain your marriage up until the 2 years and 9 month mark. But at the point that the officer is going to interview you, they want to see that you remained married for the full 3 years. So they would definitely require that you are married for 3 years, but you can still apply at 2 years and 9 months, as long as you can show that everything is well with your marriage, you didn't separate, you're living in marital union with your spouse. Mariam, you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. I would love to, I like to get your questions. Your questions are my priority. So drop your questions in the comments. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I am U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. If you want to learn more about me, you want to schedule a consultation, you can call 561-405-4889, or you can go to the link in my bio and it's going to take you to the website where it has my number. It also has a contact form for you to send your information to the firm and we contact you. Mariam, can a U.S. citizen file for adopted child under 21? So yes, as long as you can show that this adopted child is a legal adoption. So because I adopted my daughter at the age of 9. So yes, as long as you can show that it is a legal adoption that is acceptable in the country that you adopted her in. How to expedite asylum case. So Margug. Well, you know, it depends on what's going on with your situation. Usually to expedite any case, you have to have some sort of urgent circumstances. So it really depends on what's going on. It's usually urgent circumstances, for example, based on health. Maybe the conditions in the country have greatly become degraded, and you know, maybe things are more dangerous for your family. So it just depends on what the circumstances are, but it usually has to be something that is urgent. So Yenya, I'm asking if I have to be 2 years 9 months married or 2 years 9 months with my green card. Both. Exactly, so both. Great question. So you have to have your green card for 2 years and 9 months at least, and you have to be married. No, you have to be married for 3 years, but you can apply at 2 years and 9 months. And then when you go into the citizenship interview, the officer is going to make sure that you remain married for 3 years with your U.S. citizen spouse. So thank you, Suyenya, for sharing my live as well. So keep those questions coming. I love to get your questions and answer them. I like to give you the information you need. So I'm talking about applying for US citizenship and what are the requirements. So we talked about how long you have to have your green card for. So Marcog, you can go ahead and put your questions in the comments. And also you can schedule a consultation if your questions are going to be more detailed, or it's going to be based on your particular circumstances. So Mariam, if someone filed for your husband and the USA president banned your country for giving visa, is this so I'm going to wait for that question. Is this supposed to affect us that do this fact? So I believe President Biden has lifted the ban on the countries. So I don't believe those are in effect anymore. However, it depends on if there is a ban on the country, which I believe they were lifted by the president. If there is still a ban for some reason, then it really depends on what are the requirements of the ban, and does your spouse, your husband, fall within the criteria of the ban. So I don't believe that there are any bans right now on African countries. But it really depends on what's going on in your particular circumstances and diplomatically what's going on. So it depends, and what's going on at the embassy. So keep those questions coming. So we talked about, so Sayenya, how people gain the green card from work, how does that work and what's needed? So it really depends on your qualifications. Because there are different employers, different industries, different needs of the employer. Some employment-based green cards require professional degrees, advanced degrees. Some don't require it. So it depends on the needs of the employer, as well as the conditions, the wages in the country, and whether you can provide a unique service to the employer that the employer cannot obtain in the U.S. So it all depends on who is the employer, what are your qualifications, and whether or not your qualifications will meet the needs of the employer and not get in the way of the country, the United States, and the U.S. people that live here. So in other words, it's a little more complex, and I would definitely have to talk to you in a personal consultation to discuss with you, what you're looking at, who are your prospective employers, and so forth. So Mariam, President Trump banned my country because the deportees here, my president don't sign the papers. So the ban has been lifted. There's no more ban. The Trump's bans were lifted. So it should not, anything that has to do with a ban on the country should no longer affect you. So keep those questions coming. What I was talking about was applying for U.S. citizenship. I talked about the time period that you would need to be a green card holder to apply, to submit that application. So Suyenya, they said Biden's gonna give documents for people who don't have it. Is that true? So he has proposed a bill that is before Congress that would give most undocumented immigrants their conditional green cards. However, it's not law. So he is trying to get it passed, but it's up to Congress now. And it's a little more controversial in Congress. and it's a very divisive issue. And so we have not seen any movement towards passing that bill yet. But there is another bill that is called the Dream and Promise Act, the American Dream and Promise Act. It's a little more limited than Biden's proposed law, which would cover 11 million undocumented individuals in the United States. This one would cover 2 million, about or more than 2 million undocumented immigrants. And those immigrants would be those who came to this country under 18 and under. If they meet certain requirements, they would be able to get a conditional green card. And then if they had the conditional green card for 10 years, met additional requirements, they would get the green card. And then 5 years later, they could get citizenship. Now, it's limited though, because it's not giving an option to all undocumented immigrants. This too has not passed, but it's a little more promising because, it's Congress, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, have been a lot more agreeable to providing status to children or minors who have come to this country and who don't have their papers. So right now, nothing is law, but Biden is trying to give status to those 11 million undocumented immigrants. Now, under Biden's proposed law, he said that one would be able to get conditional residence if they registered to get the conditional green card, if they pass a background check, and also if they showed evidence that they've paid taxes or complied with the tax law. So there you go. That is the summary in a nutshell. So John, Neil, what if they came to the state over 18 years old, 18 years and older? Now, if they came at 18 up to 19, so this bill, if you're on 18 and under, you would be covered, but 19 and up, it does not offer a solution to 19-year-olds and up. But 18 and under would be covered by the American Dream and Promise Act. But keep in mind that this is not law yet. So keep that in mind. Great questions. Keep those questions coming. In the meantime, I'm talking about applying for U.S. citizenship. I talked about the length of time you would have to have your green card, which is 5 years or 3 years. But you can start applying for U.S. citizenship at 4 years and 9 months. If you are married to a U.S. citizen and you obtained your green card through that U.S. citizen, then it would be 2 years and 9 months that you can apply. But at the time of the interview, they would want to see that you remain married to your U.S. citizen spouse for 3 years and that you maintain permanent residence for those 3 years. There are also other requirements other than the time. So you have to show that you have maintained continuous presence in the United States or continuous residence in the United States. And what that means is that you have to show that you have been living in the country for the duration of the time that you've had your green card. In addition to that, you have to show physical presence, which means that you have to show that you've been physically in the United States. The reason being, if you leave the country and go outside, live somewhere for more than 6 months, it could be problematic in your U.S. citizenship application. If over a year, definitely can be a problem because the officer can say that you abandon your permanent residence and no longer qualify for the U.S. citizenship. In addition to that, you have to show that you have good moral character. And I get it, everybody believes that they have good moral character, but this good moral character is within the context of immigration. So, usually where a problem starts is for an individual is where there's a criminal issue or there's, so there are other things as well. There's, if you're delinquent on child support, if you've skipped out on taxes, even if they have seen that you were cheated on your spouse, and that because of that infidelity it ended your marriage, then that could also affect the officer's finding of your good moral character. The officer can actually, based on these types of issues, can say that you did not meet the good moral character requirement. So it's very important to take all of that into consideration and make sure that if these are any of your issues, so if you have a history with alcohol, drugs, if you have cheated on your spouse that ended the marriage, if you have tax issues, or either chocolate 3185, or if you have child support or delinquent taxes, these can also be a problem. So other minor requirements are that you have to be in your state of residence for at least 3 months before applying. So if you just move to a new state, you want to make sure that you've been there for over 3 months. And you have to be 18 or over. So these are the basic requirements to apply for US citizenship. Now keep those questions coming, because I am here to answer your immigration questions. So I would love to hear your questions. I am pretty much done with the topic. I'm going to close out though by saying, after you know that you've met the requirements, then you file the N-400 form, which is just the citizenship application form. Completed, and then when that's submitted, you would first get a receipt notice, and then a few weeks later you would get a biometrics fingerprinting appointment. You'd attend that appointment, and it's for your background check. After that, then you would likely get an interview scheduled. At the interview, you'll do your exam. So you'll do your citizenship exam, and the officer will ask you up to 10 questions. You have to get 6 out of the 10, at least 6 correct to pass this test. It's a civics and history test. And you'll do a writing test and a reading test. And all of that is done in English. So it's very, there are some exceptions. If you're over a certain age, for example, over 50, and you've been here for more than 15 to 20 years, there are ways to get an easier test. So Vanessa Pena, I am in Boca Raton, Florida. I also meet with my clients in downtown Fort Lauderdale, but keep in mind that I represent clients all over the country, because as an immigration attorney, we work with the USCIS offices all over the country. If you notice, when you're filing an immigration application, you don't file it in your state. You actually file it in offices all over the country. And so we're very experienced with working across state lines, and we're authorized to do that. As a matter of fact, I represent clients all over the world, because there are clients that want to come in to the country, and so I help them to do that if they're living outside of the United States. So now, if you would like to schedule a consultation, you can give me a call at 561-405-4889. You can go to the link in my bio, and you'll see my number at the top. You'll see it at the bottom. There's also a contact form where you can complete it with your information if you want us to call you. And you're welcome, Vanessa. So I'm pretty much done with the topic that I was talking about. Gal Mad Hoge is saying, how old are you? Unfortunately, that's not an immigration related question, so I'm going to reserve the right to keep that private. But I can tell you this, I'm old enough to be an immigration attorney and to represent my clients You know, so I am qualified. To be an attorney and to do my job. All right, so thank you all for your questions. Now, if sometimes this tends to be delayed, so if I didn't get to your question, please hang on to those questions. I am here every day. I like to close out the night with you. So just follow me if you're not already following me. And then when I come on, you can log on as well and ask your questions. So once again, my number is 561-405-4889. If you'd like to call to schedule a consultation, you will get to speak with either an after hours. Okay, so it's just a random question. I understand. So who you will get is, if you're calling after hours, which is after 6:30 p.m. Eastern time or before hours at 8:30 Eastern time, you'll get an after hours receptionist who will help you take your information, and then as soon as the scheduling coordinator starts her daily routine, she'll get back to you and put you on my schedule. So don't hesitate to call, leave your name, your number for us to get back in touch with you, or you can call between 8:30 and 6:30 and be able to get a consultation in. All right, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for all your questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Bye.